JD, into the hat for Monday's draw. A closely fought game, but one we controlled. What did you make of that?
I think you've summed that up really well there, to be fair. It seems that at the moment we are controlling games. We look really solid. We were solid in the game, right throughout the game there, really, until probably the last 2 minutes. But just struggling to convert a number of chances. We're making chances, we're playing well. And it's another one of them where we could have been probably 2 or 3 up at half time. Have we done it a little bit, just been a little better. Second half we've actually had more chances. So on a different day we put that to bed 3 or 4-0. So we're knocking on the door of scoring 3 or 4 past somebody, but we look solid. So we're absolutely over the moon with the performance.
Yeah, you mentioned the amount of chances that was created. Addy's hit the bar to make it 2-0. Sam's had a good chance at the end. Yeah. And then down the other end, Callum's made an unbelievable save to keep it 1-0.
I mean, Callum coming back to the team there, obviously getting him back in. He's a confident lad anyway, he's very loud and he hasn't had an awful lot to do in the game. But in the 91st, 92nd minute, he's had to tip one onto the post and that leads to us winning the game. And as you say, yeah, Sam Conway, Lewis has tackled something and it's dropped to the other side of the pitch and Sam's in. His first touch was perfect. He probably should have hit it and had another one and then sort of panicked a little bit. Franksy swiped at one, which he probably should have just put in. Steely stepped over it. Addy's tried to take the net off and it hit a little too hard and rattled it back off the bar. But then when you look at their chances, there's none that I can remember that are really clear cut. So like I say, 3 or 4, if we take more of these big chances, we'll obviously go and punish the team a bit more.
A very physical side, Ossett. The defence, Addy, Tom, Dan and Louis handled them very, very well. Another clean sheet. But as mentioned, they only had 2 shots all game. So massive credit, not just to the defence, but the whole team.
Well, I mean, Tom and Shane have protected that, they've broke everything down. Franksy's been very, very good with the ball at his feet, so he's not giving anything away. The front 3 are working tirelessly to stop them playing. We had them watched a couple of times and part of our play was to play a certain way, which I'm not going to go into right now, but it worked, what we were trying to do. But defensive, I mean, yeah, the physical, the 2 centre-halves are physical, the striker's very physical, but I think Tom and Addy just raised the game again and Lewis and Dan didn't put a foot wrong. So yeah.
A couple of key incidents outside of Jamie's goal. One, him getting kicked in the head, and a massive penalty appeal, and then there was a bit of a melee right outside of our box. What do you make of it?
Strange, because the one he's been kicked in the head, it's one of them where you think, well, anywhere on the pitch you'd give a foul for that. So I'm not sure why is he thinking that because his head's low. It's not a foul, but you would still give it. I can't get that one. And then they start to lose the rag a little bit, throwing people around, threw Tom about a bit. Then there's one where Kev's broke through and he's been side down, and you've got 2 or 3 there where you're thinking possible penalties or even red cards. And I think that's just because we kept our discipline so well and kept doing the right things, and the teams are starting to crack a little bit.
Looking ahead at Monday's draw, the step 3 sides come into that. So obviously locally you've got Morpeth Town, South Shields and a couple of others. Is there anyone that you'd particularly like to face, or is it just a case of you'd love another home draw?
I think I'd love an unknown team. It's part of the fun of the FA Cup, isn't it? And part of the romance of it, where you end up with teams that you've never played before, and whether we're away or home, we'll embrace it. And you never know. That was maybe the start of an interesting run, so we'll see.
Looking ahead to Tuesday night's game, just another 3 days rest. It is Bridlington away. We haven't played them for a few seasons. What would you be looking for the side going into that? So
firstly, we'll regroup Monday night and train. We'll have a light session. We'll research Bridlington 100% over the weekend rather than focusing on anything else. It seems that everybody seems fine from that. There's a couple of lads that were not available today who will return to the squad, and we'll assess and hopefully we can go there with a full squad. Obviously it's got to be a bit of a late set off on a Tuesday, which is a tricky one, but everybody so far seems available, so we'll be right up for that.